me? Why am I working? What is this?
Guys, I gotta tell you, we got a problem, right? We got a problem. And it's not Joe Biden, right? It's not his failed policies. It's not inflation. It's not what happened in Afghanistan. It's not crime. It's not the border crisis. It's not the supply chain crisis. It's none of that. That's all made up from the right. People like Fox News, right? They're all making that up, okay? The actual real problem in this country, guys, is them damn memes, right? Yes, I said it. I'm calling it like it is. It's the damn memes. They are the biggest problem in this country, according to Brian Stelter. Take a look.
What is the meta story of President Biden's first year? The meta story, meaning we have a lot more coming up this hour. But first, what is the meta story of President Biden's first year? The meta story, meaning the all-encompassing narrative of Biden's presidency. What's the takeaway? What's the story about all the stories? What's the main impression you get from all the daily headlines and hate tweets? Is it America rebounding, or is it America on the wrong track? First, let's admit that the American media has a tremendous amount of power in shaping the meta story of a presidency. Maybe that's why so many liberals are so frustrated right now, worried about Biden's poll numbers, irritated at the media's framing, and concerned that Biden isn't doing enough to shape his own story. If Biden's strategy is quiet, his detractors are trying to be loud, making the meta story about a guy who failed to deliver. It is increasingly a country with many alternative facts. Disproving viral tweets is different than debunking a TV ad. Combating meme makers is different than rebutting newspaper columnists. And the memes are pretty powerful sometimes. My suburban grocery stores never had empty shelves like that, but the messaging here saying that Biden is to blame for anything bad about the economy, it is clearly sticking to some degree. Even though economists believe GDP is going to surge this quarter, even though the American recovery is historically strong after the pandemic, the meta story is that we are in choppy waters. As Jonathan Chait wrote in this New York Magazine cover story, nobody can ascertain exactly why the public has turned so sour so fast. He said Biden is like a patient wasting away from some undiagnosable disease.
Guys, I don't know why the people don't like my daddy, Joe Biden. It must be Fox News and the memes, right? Those memes are pretty powerful. Guys, this guy sucks, right? This guy sucks. He is so bad. He is so bad, okay? So bad. Guys, I thought for a while that Joy Reid and Don Lemon were in a close race for the worst mainstream media personality. However, this guy right here, Brian Stelter, this dude right here, literally is so bad, right? He is so bad. He is the absolute worst, by far, bar none, okay? It's not even a competition. I don't understand how this man still has a job at CNN. I really don't know, right? They have to be losing money off this guy, okay? As his viewership is tanking, and we're going to get into that in a little bit here, but I want to address the substance of what he's saying real quick, right? Basically, what he's saying is that it is a figment of our imagination that Biden's presidency is bad, okay? The reason why we think his presidency is bad is simply because of Fox News, right? It's because of Fox News. So ignore the border crisis, ignore inflation, ignore crime, ignore Afghanistan, ignore the supply chain crisis, things that actually have a real tangible effect on people, unless you're Brian Stelter, who apparently is not experiencing these issues, right? According to him, his shelves are empty, right? Problems that have real consequences that people are experiencing, that stuff is made up, right? Even though you're actually experiencing those things, right? That stuff is made up according to Brian Stelter. And once again, this is the media, and in this case, this guy is supposed to be a media critic, showing their elitism, right? And how they're just not in touch with the average day American. But I will say he is right to a certain extent in regards to, well, why do people think that Biden's presidency is so bad? It is because of the media, but it's not because of Fox News. Joe Biden's approval rating started to drop when the mainstream media actually started to cover his presidency fairly, right? And that was when Afghanistan happened, because Biden was pulling out and the establishment media didn't like the fact that Biden was pulling out. Okay, that's one thing that Biden did that is anti-establishment. They didn't like that, so they actually started to expose him, right? And once he got exposed, people were like, oh, okay, this was actually happening under the Biden administration. This guy is not necessarily doing a good job, right? Before that, the media treated Biden like the second coming of Christ, okay? That's what they did, okay? They spent most of their time not actually focusing on what he was doing, but most of their time focusing on Trump, right? January 6th, right? They figure-mongered about Trump all the way up until Afghanistan. After Afghanistan happened, and once they ran out of stuff they can talk about when it comes to Trump, they finally had to start covering what was happening in the Biden administration. And lo and behold, they ain't really got much good news to report, right? Now, don't get me wrong. The media has tried to help Biden recover. They've tried a lot. They've been handling him with kid gloves. However, once the ball gets to rolling and the mask is pulled off of Biden, he was exposed. And people started actually paying attention and realizing, okay, we have all these crises on our hands under the Biden administration. And this dude literally has not fulfilled any of his promises to his base, right? Some of his major promises during his campaign trail. So yeah, some of those people are mad at Biden, along with obviously, Republicans and conservatives, okay, who were mad at Biden the whole time because of, immigration, Afghanistan, inflation, things that we all knew about before the mainstream media actually started covering it, okay? So it ain't Fox News and it ain't the memes, right? But honestly, I think that Brian Stelter here is a little jelly, right? He's a little jelly because the right is better at memeing, right, in the culture war than the left. Okay, they're hating on the memes. That's why they don't like Let's Go Brandon. Okay, that's why CNN bought people on their network to try to compare it to ISIS, right? That's what they did. Okay, tried to say it was a threat to the president, because they don't really want the smoke when it comes to the memes. Now, speaking of CNN and their failing network, I really don't understand for the life of me, why does Lil Brian Stelter still have a job, okay? As he is drawing his smallest audiences of 2021, right? This man is attracting less than 600,000 viewers, right? This man is at a yearly low. His program just continues to decline and decline and decline into irrelevance. And besides segments like the one we just went over, where he's basically blaming memes for why people don't like Joe Biden, it's not really hard to figure out why people don't really want to watch his show. Take a look.
Ask Brian to, on national television, admit he and his network are a bunch of liars about Donald Trump.
This is Kevin in Princeton, Indiana. Good morning.
Yeah, Mr. Stelter is the biggest minister of misinformation I have ever heard, and I'm a news junkie. He made the statement just a few minutes ago that he is all the stories are always evolving. Yeah, his stories absolutely evolve.
Brian Stelter.
Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it.
Savannah, Georgia. Rick, good morning. You're next.
Yes, I was just wondering if you still feel like Michael Avenatti is the greatest thing in the world and should run for president of the United States.
That's
and
funny.
my suggestion is whatever CNN says, do the opposite and you'll be fine.
Aurora, Indiana. This is Robert. Good morning. You're on with Brian Stelter.
CNN is just something it's a joke. It's a joke. Right. This guy tells more lies, and Fox gives more news than CNN does in their
What lie? What lie did I tell?
2 years. It's another.
So you conclude that the former president betrayed the country. How hard is that for an impartial, straightforward, just the facts kind of reporter who is on at ABC every day? How hard is that to have to say and write and accept?
You come on here and you have a a monopoly on truth. You know exactly how things are supposed to be done. You are one of the reasons people can't stand the media. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the main point of those clips was to show the main two reasons why Brian Stelter's show is failing. The first being that people just generally don't trust the media, and he's honestly the worst in the media, and he actually knows that people don't trust the media, but he doesn't seem to be aware of how bad he is at his own job.
American trust in the mass media is at its lowest point since 2016 and near a record low overall. But think about it. Almost everyone trusts some form of media. Everyone trusts something. It's just that many people trust CNN and many others trust Fox, even though we're not really two sides of the same coin. So it's obvious that when pollsters ask about the media as a whole, the results are abysmal.
So there he goes, blaming Fox News for why people don't really trust the media, aka why they don't really like him, right? And he honestly believes that CNN and Fox News are not two sides of the same coin. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro, what type of reality that you're living in, but it kind of is. You kind of are, right? Everything they accuse Fox News of doing, CNN does the exact same thing. Except, Fox News, in my opinion, does have a little bit of credibility here and there. The second reason, in my opinion, is because he's still talking about Trump, right? He's still running segments about Trump. Trump has been out of office for almost a year now, but yet he's still running these segments trying to bash Trump as if the man is actually in office, while at the same time telling people that the crisis under Biden is purely just made up from Fox News. Yeah, I mean, that's why people aren't really watching your show, and they don't really trust the media. So let's actually read a little bit here about CNN's struggles, and then we will wrap this up. CNN's reliable sources with left-wing host Brian Stelter had its smallest audience of 2021 on Sunday, failing to surpass 600,000 viewers for the first time. Stelter's program averaged a dismal 583,000 viewers, shedding another 10% from the previous week, which was among the struggling program's worst turnouts of the year. Reliable sources has now failed to average 800,000 viewers for a staggering 12 straight weeks. Sounds to me like viewers think that it is unreliable sources. Reliable Sources builds itself as a program that examines the media industry on a weekly basis, has essentially emerged as an hour of conservative bashing. Stelter completely ignored MSNBC getting banned from the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, instead spending time interviewing the 1619 Project author Nicole Hannah-Jones and ABC News reporter Jonathan Carl about their books. A variety of basic cable offers, including HGTV's Fixer to famous TLC's 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, Food Network's Kids Baking Championship, multiple repeats of The Big Bang Theory, decades-old repeats of Gunsmoke, and various Hallmark movies all outdrew Stelter's program on Sunday alone. Stelter also had segments criticizing conservative media coverage of the Rittenhouse trial, explaining news whiplash, and complaining that CNN can't air trials related to the Capitol riot because cameras aren't allowed in the courtroom. Stelter also struggled to attract viewers among the advertisers' coveted demographic of adults 25 to 54, averaging only 87,000 for his fourth smallest audience of the year in the critical category. Fox News time slot Media Buzz averaged 1.5 million viewers and 201,000 among the demo to thump Stelter in both categories. Fox News 1 a.m. Eastern Time Encore presentation of Fox News Patriot Awards also outdrew CNN's reliable sources, right? So basically, Fox News is basically roasting reliable sources here and saying that our worst program, right? I rerun our Patriot Awards at 1 a.m. at night had more viewers than Brian Stelter. Again, that's how bad this dude is. Okay, and again, for the life of me, I really don't understand why is he still on the network? Why is this man not being fired, right? Any other regular person doing this bad at their job, right, with key performance indicators this bad, would be fired by now, okay? You'd be gone, out, right? But for whatever reason, this man is still there. But who knows? He's the gift that keeps on giving for me. So it is what it is. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.